Hello, everyone. I'm Josh Ochs with smartsocial.com. In today's interview, we're talking a lot about screen time, detoxing a little bit, and finding a healthy balance. This is perhaps one of the more important conversations that we can have in this age because these devices, now I sometimes call them a car, and that means that when you give your kids this vehicle that is an iPhone, an Android, or anything else, or social media that lives on top of it, really can be a vehicle. It can be used for a purpose, or it can be used as a pastime that can take a lot of our time or create danger. Today, I have an awesome expert, a mom of 4 kids, April Whiting, live from Arizona. I'm so honored to have her here. She's a screen safety educator. April, welcome to the interview, and tell us how many kids and what age they are.
Well, thank you. I am so happy to be here. And I have 4 kids. I have 4 boys. And they are 13, 11, 6, and 3. So I am in the trenches.
Now, I'm your biggest fan because you not only have all those kids, but you also travel the country speaking. You do a lot of speaking things, which is amazing because you're helping kids. You have a TED Talk out. Tell us, what's the title of the TED Talk? What's it all about? And then we're going to dive into how your TED Talk can teach us a few things.
Okay, great. Well, my TEDx talk will actually be out any day. We're waiting for it to go live. It's called Abducted by Technology, Raising the Smartphone Generation. And my TEDx talk is basically about, a couple years ago, my entire family was addicted to screens, myself included. And one night I was tucking one of my kids in bed, and I realized it was the first time that entire day I had given him eye contact. And it really just hit me as a mom. And that night I started a journey. I was like, we have to get this under control now while my children are young, or this is just going to catapult into something very unhealthy for our whole family. And so I started doing research and decided to detox my whole family from screens. I took 2 weeks and I detoxed them like they were in rehab. We slowly every day cut out a little bit of screens until we got to 0. And then we spent 6 months screen free. And the first couple days were not for the faint of heart, for sure. And then there was like this switch, and my kids remembered what it was like to be kids and use their imaginations, and our family dynamics really shifted. It was incredible.
That's amazing. So what changed? How did your family dynamic change?
Mm-hmm. Well, before that, we just weren't connecting. I always use the term, we were alone together. Mm. We were all together, but we were all like this down in a screen, and the connection was just gone. And it's something I didn't realize until I took control back from screens and regained that connection and those family dynamics and simple things like eye contact that are so big with children.
Can you give us a story, an example of something that happened that wasn't happening before that now is happening?
Oh man, there's so many choices. Just things like my kids just talk to me more because I'm available. Whereas before, it's hard to admit now, but I spent a lot of my days down in a screen. And I just felt unapproachable, I think. And now my oldest is a teenager, and it's important to have those open lines of communication. And now he comes to me with things that are going on with his friends, and we didn't have that before. It's amazing the power that screens can have if we let it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's fascinating. First of all, thanks for being vulnerable, because people who are listening or watching this right now, they're saying, hey, that's me or my spouse, or am I being that way to my kids? I love that. And I think we all can be that way, even if it's at work. We've got our face in a screen with our coworkers, right?
Yeah.
So I love that. What are some of your tips that you would have? Now, full disclosure, I do a digital detox every year for at least a week. So we delete apps, and it doesn't mean we delete the accounts. So
Right.
listeners, viewers, you don't have to delete your accounts. You merely don't let yourself be bombarded by the notifications. These apps love to notify you because they get paid by you opening the app every day so that they can tell their advertisers that you are a daily active user, right? AU or a monthly active user. That's what they care about. So what April is basically saying is we're no longer going to allow those apps, to grab our attention. So what's one of the tips? What's one of the apps that might have been sucking some of your time, or the notifications? What's one of the easiest things that you think you could have eliminated, that other people might be able to do?
Okay. Well, there's a couple that are my favorites. I would say up there is device-free dinners.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds so simple, but it makes a huge difference. There's lots of studies that have been done about how important family dinners are
Mm-hmm.
for children and family dynamics. And we put all technology in a basket in a different room during dinner. Little thing. But I turned off all notifications on my phone because, like you said, Instagram, Facebook, I'm on those, but I don't have my notifications turned on. So there's times during the day where my phone goes away for a little while, and I'm not worried about if I'm missing those notifications.
Yeah, that's huge. I love my dad. He's one of my best friends, but he'll get a notification every time an email comes in. Now he's retired, but I'm like, Dad, you don't need like
Yeah.
this, the phone doesn't own you. It doesn't pay you a salary. You don't, right? And that's one of our hilarious little things. He gets less emails than me, but those emails, definitely no notifications. Instagram, you
Yeah.
can wait, right?
Mhm.
WhatsApp, a lot of my groups are muted except for very important couple groups. And
Yeah.
phone calls come in, and they, rather than making a sound, they vibrate on this thing. Now you don't want to always be available, but this is a phone and a text message inbox, right?
Right.
Basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love where you're going with this, because it's basically, there's something called that inbox overload that a lot of people will have. It's an actual term where you might have your mailbox in the physical front of your home, plus your email inbox, plus your all these other inboxes that are direct messaging, wanting to check all these apps, and it's overwhelming. But by turning them all off and going to them when you have time, it's pretty freeing. What would you tell people that feel like, okay, yeah, the eye contact is great? What would you tell people? What's the worst what's the downside if they don't do this now? And B, how would you motivate them to at least try it, perhaps this summer or later?
Right. The worst that can happen, we were on a really unhealthy path. Um, I had my child at the time was 8, and he had developed severe anxiety. And I'm not saying that screens are 100% that reason why, but that was a big factor. There was a lot of behavior problems. My marriage was struggling because there just wasn't a lot of connection in the family. And, kids, they have a hard life these days. And we have to be available to, they just want to be seen, heard, and loved, like we all do. And it's really hard to give them that if we are all addicted to screens, which adults are not above that dopamine flood that can come on our brains. And so, I took a drastic approach by doing a digital detox. I am super happy I did it. But for a lot of families, that feels overwhelming. And I get that. I mean, I'm a mom of 4. I get it. And so if that feels overwhelming, there are these baby steps that you can start with, like the device-free dinners. Central charging stations, so important to take devices out of bedrooms at night so kids get sleep, and that's when they're making really poor choices, is at night when they have devices in their rooms. So there really are small things that can make a huge difference.
I love that. I think those are a couple great tips. So you've got the device-free dinner for anyone listening to this. Maybe it's just once a week to start it off, to try it. Hey, we're going to do Friday night and we're going to play a game. Now, not to plug my other friend, but Jennifer, my friend, she's a mom of 4 as well. She started a sticker book that I don't have in front of me right now. Actually, I probably do. And the sticker book is called Together, and you're going to absolutely love this. I took it camping with me this weekend. Didn't have a chance to do it, but all you parents listening, I don't own this company, but it's Together and it's super cute. And there's a bunch of stickers in here that your kids take out. I might as well be one of her business partners because this is adorable. Made by a mom of 4. So you're supporting a mom on the East Coast. Love you, Jennifer. Okay. And there are a bunch of stickers. We're going to do it camping, but we didn't have time. A bunch of stickers that aren't perfect circles. They are just a little bit oblong, and they're all different nights. It's a game to plant and harvest the moments with families around the dinner table. It gets your kids things that make me go, and then you take I'm so grateful, and boom, and then you have to grab a sticker. It's a physical thing, right? And you have to grab a sticker and stick it on you. And you have to describe, all right, I got my sticker, so I got to kind of talk about it. And it replaces the device with a physical thing. I'm a big believer, April, correct me, set me straight, but I'm a big believer that if you take something away, you have to replace it with something. Dialogue, games, laughter, tickle fight, whatever that is. Like, get the kids' attention away from this really bad pastime, unless it's a purpose, and get them into something else. And I'm plugging my buddy because she's awesome. She's got 7 of these things, I'm guessing. 5 to 7 that she's got together for date night. Anyways, parents, whatever you do, April is right on. And there are people out to help, right? This is probably $15. I don't know. She sent me it. She's going to do a little course in our VIP, our Very Informed Parents program. But once again, there are resources on what do I do? My kids are going to hate me. It might be a game. Blame it on Together and try it. Your kids might like it. Second of all, give us a tip on why people should, I think you said, don't let your kids sleep with your phones or charge your phones elsewhere. What is your tip there and why?
Yeah. So I call it a central charging station, and it's kind of twofold. You don't want your children taking their devices in their bedroom at night for 2 reasons. Number 1, they're not getting adequate sleep, which we know is super important for kids. Because if they hear a ping, they just can't leave it alone. And they're also making really poor choices. You know, at night, our defenses are down a little bit. And we've seen a lot of problems from that. So that's the first reason why that's important. So you take that central charging station and you put it somewhere like the parents' bedroom.
Yeah.
And then that's also where parents can be doing their safety checks. I'm a firm believer in you should have your children's login and password information. And that's when you should be doing your safety checks and making sure that they are being safe online, you know, no sexting, giving out private information, stuff like that. That is when you can check these things, is when it's on the central charging station.
Absolutely. It looks like my video camera for just a hot sec has stopped, but there we go. We're back live. I love where you're going with that, is a central charging station. Once again, April, would you mind if I go into just a couple wisdom tips that we found?
Please do.
And you can maybe school me if you don't mind. I'm going to share with you key takeaways from some of our speeches. And you and I are very much alike. Always, parents, be on the same apps as your kids. Please consider this. We give this at the end of all of our speeches. Download the apps. We see apps as a park, meaning, would you send your kid, your 12-year-old, to a park alone? No, I have to be there with them. Okay, great. Next, know the passcode to your kids' phones, just like April said, right? Check them at random times. As April just said, have a centralized charging station, and when you're doing that, you have the full right to check them. April and I are giving you permission that some humans need. We're granting you that permission so that you do that. Now, this is Smart Social's belief. Your child's phone is to be treated like a vehicle. You own it. You should be able to access it and check the trunk anytime you want. And because you never know what's on there that could hurt your family. Your child is not, in my opinion, this is my opinion, not April's, your child is not mature enough to contact 7 billion people that phone gives them access to. So please consider that when you're, and then also don't let your kid, as April said, don't let your kids sleep with their phones. Charge them in your bedroom at night, right? And then next, remind your kids not to talk with strangers at home. Strangers are two things. They're anyone who is not sitting around the dinner table with you, and they're anyone who's not sitting next to you at school. Everybody else, even if they claim they go to the school down the street, explain to your kids what a stranger isn't. And then that is a much easier formula. Consider staying off anonymous apps, parents, and consider making a social media agreement so that you understand what's good, what's bad, and so on. All right. So April, what did I get wrong? What did we miss? Give us some of your feedback as a mom of 4, my hero.
Well, we are of the same opinion. I agree with everything you said. Technology is a privilege with your children, and it is okay to have their login and passwords. I also teach that those smartphones, it's like a car. And just in the same way that you would teach them to drive a car, driver's ed, the same needs to happen with a phone. And you teach them things. With my younger kids, I call it tricky people. They don't have smartphones yet, but I'm a firm believer in you should start having these conversations 5 years before they are going to experience these things. So we talk about tricky people online that pretend to be your same age and at the school down the street. And so we have a lot of really open conversations. I always ask parents, tell me your 5 biggest fears of what would happen to your child online. And they tell me, and then I say, talk to your kids about that. We should be talking to them about these things.
Great. That is so good. What's your 5 biggest fears? Now you hit on 2 5s. What's your 5 biggest fears? Talk to your kids about that. You also said something that's so crucial. Talk to your kids 5 years before or several years before they get something.
Yeah.
I'm the choir, so you're talking to somebody that believes exactly what you believe, but why? Some people are like, I don't have time. April, you don't understand how busy I am. I've got 2 kids. I'm doing this. You don't understand. Mm-hmm. And I'm being facetious, but why would you want to do it way before?
Right. In the long run, it makes your life easier. If you're proactive instead of reactive, it's been trial and error for me, but it's so much easier to start now. And it's things like car rides are the number 1 place where we have these talks. I have learned that boys do not like eye-to-eye contact in serious conversations. They like shoulder to shoulder. And so it's car rides, throwing a ball out back. You can tell I'm a boy mom. But it doesn't have to be these big productions of we're sitting down for a family meeting. And it's just these little conversations in certain moments when you're driving somewhere and you're like, hey, let me tell you a story that I heard about this kid who met a tricky person online. And it's just a lot of really simple things that add up to make this huge difference in your children's lives, really.
Wow. So these are some great nuggets we're learning from you. 1, it's not bottling it all up and saying, we're having a Friday night meeting. It's a nugget here and there. You're dropping a little drop of water that slowly makes a difference, right? Which I love. Yeah. I also love that you're really listening to how your kids communicate, their language, if you will, shoulder to shoulder. What a great tip, right? You guys are facing the same direction, throwing a ball. That's amazing. And car rides, they're captive. Yeah. What are they going to do? Jump out? I mean,
Exactly. And for those more intense conversations, I've learned that car rides make it feel less awkward because they're not looking right at me, but they're stuck. They have to listen to what I have to say. And so, man, those car rides, that's a powerful place. It can be, for sure.
That's amazing. You're full of all these great nuggets. I really appreciate it, April. Now, we're going to link to you below so people can learn more about you. They can watch your TEDx talk. I do appreciate all that you're doing. And I also, my favorite thing about you is not only do you share your tips, not only are you protecting kids, but you're vulnerable about a change that you made in your life. And I think that makes you the best at what you do, because we're all making mistakes. Anybody that's listening or watching this right now, I'm in this space because I ran for politics many years ago and I was bullied. All the candidates were bullied, but I was bullied the most because I was the youngest and my online reputation was hurt. Those things that happened to me made me a way better person. And I tell my team every day, this is why we do this, is I was hurt and I was an adult with a vocabulary to understand that, and yet it still really hurt. So that's why we've dedicated a big portion of my life to protecting kids. Because if kids are bullied, they won't have the vocabulary and the friend group that I did to protect themselves, right? So parents, if you're going through a tough time, be like April. Know that you can make a change. It's not easy, but you can go, hey, I'm gonna think about, and you don't have to make a drastic change, but notice how April slowly took things away and went down to zero, as close to zero as possible. And then slowly bring it back. So the topic today, right, that April has led is her journey detoxing the whole family and finding a healthy balance. April, what does that healthy balance look like to you guys now?
Right. Yes. So I get asked a lot why we brought technology back if the 6 months was such a magical time. And that's because technology isn't going anywhere. It is here to stay, and our children have to learn to have a healthy relationship with it. And so that's why I brought them back. And I brought it back in healthy amounts slowly. And something that I've learned is, are your kids consuming or are they creating? The 2 C's. So my 10-year-old loves YouTube. And I thought, well, how can I make this work where this isn't a battle with him? So instead of him watching mind-numbing videos for hours, he's creating art. He has like this little cartoon character and he's drawing, and there's a little bit of math put into it, and he's learning coding, and he's creating instead of consuming. And so a lot of it is, you don't have to do the whole screen time battle. Like if you do your chores, you get 30 minutes here. It can be more, if you take a step back and look at how they are using technology, that's an important aspect of it. Are they consuming or are they creating? Because there's a lot of awesome things they can do.
I love where you're going with this. And what you're basically saying is kids have a purpose online. So when they're consuming, it's a pastime. I call it zombie mode. Netflix wants you to wait till that episode's over, and then they go, we're starting the new episode. In a lot of my videos, April, I go, parents, here's how to turn off zombie mode in YouTube, in Netflix, in all these apps. So your kids can consume a little. Everything in moderation is okay, within reason, when it comes to just moderation, parents, if you're doing it together. But I love what you're doing, and you've got a purpose, which I absolutely love. Parents know that you can learn anything on YouTube. You can. I couldn't afford to change the headlights in my car because they were yellow a few years ago. I figured out how to do it myself. I'm pretty handy, and I bought them on Amazon. Instead of $400 at the dealership, it was $80. I shot a 4-minute video on how I changed my Jeep Grand Cherokee headlights. It has 20,000 views on YouTube, helping other people learn how I did that, saved hundreds of dollars, and they can go buy the same headlights. If you put, right, people, Jeep Grand Cherokee people are raving over it. Some of them are angry, like, you forgot this step. But the good thing is we're creating and helping each other. And I love where you're going with that, because I think you can create videos, or you can use it to learn from people who are building, doing, coding, stuff like that. April, what do you suggest for people who have oh, go ahead. You had something.
No, go ahead. You're fine.
What if people have teenagers? They're like, how do I guide them? How do I become wiser and better at this? April, I'm not tech savvy, say a lot of people.
Yeah.
What would you tell them?
Well, honestly, I'm going to plug you for a second. I give parent nights all over the country, and I have a slide dedicated to you and your website. if I was tech savvy, I'd bring it up for you, but smartsocial.com is where I send parents who are like, I don't know how to even get into Instagram. I don't know how to work it. It really is such a great resource. I support you 1,000%. I signed up for it. I have been through most of the videos. I've had my teenager watch a couple of them with me. It's a great resource.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
That's so sweet of you. And for those of you listening or watching right now, we have about 1 million people a year that are watching our free resources. We have a live webinar. My favorite part of my life right now is giving these Tuesday and Thursday night live webinars. There's a yellow band across the top. In April, you opened up a little portal here. For those of you that are wondering, like, is this app safe or not? In the upper left, there's an app reviews page that has about 11,900 shares. And it really, I've dedicated the last 7 years to how do we bucket the apps. The green zone apps are not the safe apps. They're the start. They're the ones that have an upside and a downside. So you got to read through that. The gray zone apps they feature a lot of messaging, private messaging, disappearing content. You got to be careful there. And then the red zone apps have a lot of downside. The downside outweighs the upside. Really, red zone apps are like your kid saying, Mom, I'm a good runner. I can run with scissors. I'm fine. Well, you know the downside doesn't outweigh the upside of running with scissors. So that's where the red zone apps live, kind of. And then the dangerous social media challenges. Go through that, parents. It's 100% free. Guide yourself there. We've also got, because of COVID-19, online activities that my team has really worked hard to put together, a ton of live stuff. And then we have a newsletter. And then please consider joining our free live events. It's a webinar each night on how to set up how to set up, essentially, keep your kids safe on TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, Fortnite, YouTube, and Netflix. I think it's the 6 largest billion-dollar brands that your kids want to be on, and how to keep them safe on those along the way. Thank you for the little shout out there, April. That's very, very
Absolutely. That has been such an important resource for me and my parents that I help. So massive props to you and what you're doing. I am your biggest cheerleader.
I'm forever grateful. Thank you so much. I'm going to give you a last word. What do you tell parents? Where do they start? What do they do? What's a tip, that a frequently asked question, or anything that you might give to people?
I would say you get to choose what you want your relationship and your family's relationship with technology to look like. If you don't like the way your relationship or family dynamics look, it's not too late. Small and simple changes can change your family dynamics for the better. So lead technology. Don't let it lead you or own you.
Oh man, I love that. April, we got to have you back. This is really great. And I'm so thankful for you for reaching out. Those of you listening or watching, click the links below to learn more about April, to watch her TEDx talk, to take the next step in your kids. You know, we have a purpose for your child. And that purpose is we want to help keep your kids safe on social media, so someday they can shine online, so that they're light, bright, and polite, that they have a little bit of gratitude with that positive attitude that they should show online. We've got all these nerdy little key phrases, but we have a plan for your kid so that your wisdom and the child's future come together with a rich dialogue, just like you saw from April. Please take that next step. If you want to become a VIP, a very informed parent, April is. She actually put a credit card in and is supporting us. April, I'm forever grateful there for you. It's going to teach you not only the parent side of things. It's got parent-only videos that say, parents, watch this before or while your kid has Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, all these deep dive guides. It's from adult to adult. Here's how predators talk to your kids and so on. Then we've got the kid-only stuff. Parents sit in the back and watch with your kids. But it's kids, how to be positive on Snapchat, how to be positive on Instagram. If you can't beat them, join them, right? How to be positive on Fortnite. We have a new Fortnite app coming, a new course coming out that talks to kids about, here's what addiction looks like in people that don't know how to control their alcohol, perhaps drugs, perhaps cigarettes. And we give just a little tiny dose of what the behaviors look like. And then we describe Fortnite and they see the connection and they go, whoa, gaming can become that. We want to talk with your kids so that, just like you heard from April, how do we educate them 5 years before they need it, or right before they get the app, or if they have an issue. A lot of you parents are reaching out saying, my son has a gaming issue. My daughter wants to do this. They have a screen time issue. And so what we want to do is have that rich dialogue with them rather than just telling them no. You can learn more at smartsocial.com and click the VIP membership at the top. It helps me to power and afford an awesome team of people. That money does not go to me. It goes to awesome people that do the research, that create the content, and we serve the whole world. And as a small form of gratitude, we give you access to our 30 courses. Thank you for everybody listening today. April, you are awesome. I am your biggest fan because you're doing great things and you're a mom of 4. Thanks for everybody for joining us here today. We'll see you on the next episode. As always, keep it light, bright, and polite. Your kids are watching. We'll see you soon. Take care.